My name is Lila, and I don't raise my voice anymore. I save it for church hymns and the kettle. Both get more done than yelling. This started with my nephew Danny on my porch. Backpack sagging like a bad promise. Auntie, I just need 1 week. I'll sleep on the sofa, be out of your way, and hand you some gas money. Cross my heart. A week is a short word that tries to hold a long idea. I looked him in the eye. 1 week, I said. No guests, no packages, no making copies of my keys. You follow my clocks. He nodded too fast, the way people nod when truth hasn't put on its shoes yet. I let him in anyway. Mercy is a door we can open, but it still has a lock. The first few days were decent. He took out the trash, washed dishes, said yes. Ma'am, like it came with seasoning. On day 4, I found a new key fob on my counter. What's this? I asked. A spare, he said. In case I drop yours. I put the fob in the cookie jar and clicked the lid. If you drop something that belongs to me, you'll pick it back up. That's your spare. 8 days in, Danny still had a check coming. 2 weeks in, I wrote a rule on a card and taped it to the fridge. Guests must be cleared. No overnights. My address is not community property. He read it, nodded again, and left for a job interview. 3 weeks in, my neighbor Doris texted a photo and 3 question marks. It was my blue house. On Airbnb, my living room in the pictures. Only staged like it was ashamed of how we really live. The description said cozy and self-check-in and keyless entry. There was a big, cheerful line about great for couples. I nearly took that phone outside and washed its mouth with the hose. I sat in my chair, the one that understands my knees better. Then the weather, and let the kettle sing once. Then I called Walter. You know Walter by now. Plenty of pens, no empty paper. And the only man I trust to read a contract without fainting. Walter, I said. Seems my house got a side hustle I didn't approve. He came over wearing those reading glasses he only puts on when he's about to end someone's hobby. We opened the listing. There was my quilt, my book stack, and my grandma's lamp. Your nephew is bold, he said. Foolishness is bravery that missed rehearsal. I didn't call Danny. I booked the listing. Tonight's, check-in at 6. In the guest notes I wrote, traveling light, prefer quiet, love bright rooms. At 5:45 I put on my Monday shoes, slid my deed and tax bill into my purse, and tucked the sheriff's number behind my ID. Walter grabbed a folder and a smile. Business with joy, he said, the only way to do it. At 6 o'clock we stood on my own porch. There was a new keypad on the door, like my dear knob had learned computers behind my back. I typed the code the host sent the guest. The lock chirped like a bird that thinks it's helpful inside. A little plywood stand held a welcome sign and a basket of maps I didn't put there. I placed a printed reservation on the entry table and sat in my chair like a witness. The bedroom door down the hall was closed. I heard Danny's voice on the phone. Yeah. Key back tomorrow. Landlord's cool. She won't even know. I knocked. He opened the door and tried to smile with the same teeth that owed money to honesty. Auntie, I can explain. My version will be shorter, I said. This is my house. Here is my reservation. Here are my papers. And the sheriff will be here if the conversation gets confused. He started talking fast about bills and his girl and opportunities that were always 2 days away. I keep it clean, he whispered like cleanliness was a license. Look at the reviews I'm gonna get. Will those reviews pay your debt? I asked. I called Airbnb first. I prefer to dial reason before I dial authority. Hello, I said. You were advertising my home. I own it, no one asked me, the woman on the line said. 1 moment. In that careful voice people use when they're checking if you can spell your own name. I sent scans deed, tax bill, my ID, and a photo of the name plaque on my porch. 15 minutes later the listing turned gray. Removed by platform, the page said. Like a bad idea, got escorted out of a restaurant. Then I called the sheriff. He arrived at 7:20 with boots that agreed with the floor and a face that didn't take notes from drama. Ma'am, you the homeowner? I handed him documents. Yes, and I'm also the guest of record tonight. Since booking my own living room seemed like the straightest road. He looked at Danny. Son, you can leave quiet, or you can leave loud. Choose. Danny chose quiet. He removed the keypad, handed me back my metal keys, and pulled a tub from under the bed labeled guest linens like he was running a hotel. For imaginary dignity, he stared at his shoes. I needed money, Auntie. This is fast. Nothing fast is free, I said. Fast is a short road with a long bill. The sheriff had us sign a little paper that said the matter was resolved. Then he left. Because his job is to keep peace, not to teach it. Walter opened his folder. Now, Danny, we're going to write an agreement. Not a fairy tale, plain words. He wrote it by hand. Daniel __ will not conduct any business at Aunt Lila's address. I will not rent, list, sublease, change locks, copy keys, accept deliveries, or host guests. I will not post photos of her home anywhere. If I violate this, I owe $1 per day plus costs. I added a line. visitor only by invitation, with clean hands, on time, Danny signed. I photographed it and mailed it to Walter and to myself and slid the original into the binder behind a tab called Ask First. Paper likes company. Danny asked to stay through Monday while he found a room. I looked at him the way I look at a pie that smells so sweet. You can stay tonight, I said. Not free, he blinked. How much? $50 a night and 3 hours of work each day. The list is on the counter. I set a timer and a sponge beside it. Love is yes, but not for nothing. In 2 days the house shined like someone had ironed the air. Danny sold his game console to cover what he owed. I didn't celebrate his goodbye to Pixels. I celebrated the first time he chose reality. Monday morning I went to the bank and filed a restriction. No loans, no transfers, no rentals. No anything tied to my address without me standing there, with my ID, my pen, and my stare. Then I stopped at City Hall and registered my lot as no short-term rental. Paper shuts doors softer than locks. Danny moved into a room across town, run by a landlord who likes rolls almost as much as I like tea. On his way out he set an envelope on the table. Last of what I owe, he said. It held a little extra. I won't make change, I told him. I'll collect it in actions. A week later he texted a photo, a job application stamped hired, a schedule with real hours, and a pay stub with taxes. That looked honest. I sent back a green check mark and a list of soups that freeze well. We are family. We believe in food and proof. People ask if I'm scared to live alone. I smile. I have neighbors who mind their business and mind when I ask. I have a sheriff who knows my porch. I have Walter, who keeps pens, and I have paper. That night I wrote in the notebook under my sugar bowl, a week is a ladder, easy to climb in, hard to climb out. If you ever see your house online without your blessing, don't holler. Book your common sense. Call the place with badges and the place with help desks. Walk into your address with your papers and you're quiet. Let silence finish the job. I also printed a small sign and taped it inside my front door. This home is not for rent. It is busy living. The floorboards creaked like a laugh, and I laughed back. A month later Danny came by on a Sunday with groceries and a calm spirit. He handed me a duplicate house key he found in an old coat and said, I don't need this anymore. I put it in the cookie jar and gave him a slice of peach pie. He said, thank you for not throwing me away. I raised you, I said. You're not trash. You're a man learning the price of a door. We ate in peace. The kettle hummed. The house minded its business, no listings, no strangers. Just breath and beans, and to people who finally understood the shape of the word week. That's all, the kettle's calling.